Hi guys, this is Big33 back with another RPG Maker tutorial. This is going to be how to make a step condition where you can include things every so many steps. So the first thing I want to do, this is going to be a tutorial on RPG Maker 2 for PlayStation 2, commonly known as RPG Maker 2000. So the first thing we want to do is start a game. I've already loaded it to go here, but I'll show you how to access that. You go to File, New, and you want to choose this if you're just starting or if you just want access to all the data. That's going to be your beginner mode. We're going to do that, and it's going to give us a prompt here in a second. Yeah, didn't really tell you a lot. So the first thing we need to do is go to Preferences and change the user level to hard mode. This will let us change all of the data in the game. Because if we change to beginner mode, you can see, I'll show you here. If I go to scripts, it'll gray out all of this hard data. And then if I go to game, in any of the settings here, I'm only going to have one tab. So if I go to preferences and change my user level to normal mode, I'll have the second tab. And hard mode will give me all tabs in the game. So there's that. The first thing we need to do for our step condition is create a script, and we're going to call this step condition. And I've abbreviated this. You want to use abbreviations. It's easier to fit in the text box. There's only so many spaces. So we'll keep that. Now there's not a whole lot I can do here right now because I don't have the criteria. And how we do scripts is they're composed of conditions and variables, inputs, and flags. And I'm going to go ahead and create two variables and a flag. Well, a variable and a flag. So two variables, sorry. So if you go into the custom tab of game settings and you go to variable, this will alter a number and pretty much let you use that number as a factor, as a function in the game. We're going to call this first. You want this to be one of the first variables you create in your game. And we're going to call this roll the percent, and this is basically a random number generator that you can use as a function. Like you can have this equal between two different numbers, and then if at a certain value within those numbers, you can make things happen. So random number generator or multiple, depending. I usually only use one. Is key. The next variable we need here, we're going to call step count. And what this is going to do is it's going to equal the step count once we're done with the script. This basically is going to equal how many steps you've taken. Or if you have taken no steps, 0. And how we get to all that, I'll explain. Now I need to get a flag. And what this is on in a state as either on or off. The flag can either be on or off, and you can make things happen when it's on or off, and enter data to alter the state of it, but it only equals active or inactive. We're going to call this poisoned and make that work. So it's going to be poisoned. And this will be on if you are poisoned. It'll help show a function for the step condition. So I'm done with all that. Now I can compose my script. Go into scripts here and just create new data. No, I already have it. See, I did that first. So go to your step condition here. And the first thing we're going to do is create a condition. So if our variable step count is equal to or less than a specified number. So if it hasn't reached a specific number, we're going to make that $58. So if it is equal to or less than 58, so if it hasn't reached its capacity, basically, is the point of the entire script. That variable is going to change. So we're going to our data tab and variable and change our step count to be itself, because if it doesn't include itself, if you change the value, it's a solid value. But if you equal itself plus or minus a certain number, whichever equation you want to use, so it's equal to itself plus 1. So it will be whatever it is in addition to 1. You can make this minus 1, you can make this time 1, whatever. But you want it to be plus because it adding 1 says you have taken a step. So that's the function right there. This will pretty much create a step condition. So once it increases 1, we need another condition. And this will allow us to basically reset and have it function as counting steps, because after a certain point you want to have things occur and reoccur, so it has to be a cyclical thing. We go back into our step count and we make it if it is equal to or greater than, go back to 60 here, and 59. Make sure I input the other one right. Is that less than? Yeah, it's less than. Okay, so if it's equal to or greater than 59, we can copy this data input and paste it and make this step count equal to 0. 0 plus 0. No matter what you put here, it's always going to equal 0 as long as there are zeros. I don't use the variable 0 fixed because it will set it to 0, but there's other functions that runs with even if it equals 0. So just setting it as a hard 0 makes it kind of permanent. So now the step count will reset. So what will happen every time we take a step? We need a random number generator for this, and that's the roll percents variable. So we'll go into the variable, and what we want to do first is change it. We want to alter roll the percents and make it a random number between 0. Let's make it 48. So a random number between 0 and 48. So it will roll between 0 and 48. But we need to make that a random number because if the plus is just a plus, it's always going to equal 48. But if we randomize it with this, then it'll be this number between the second digit. And that'll basically give us distance where it'll occur. So we want to go back into condition. And once we've rolled our RNG, we want to go ahead and have something occur if it's at or below a certain value. Below just works better with higher numbers. Above works with smaller numbers. It's easier programming. So if roll the percents is equal to or less than, let's make it 5. So equal to or less than 5, that's about 20%. Let's make it 6. Equal to or less than, 7. Holy number, whatever. Equal to or less than 7. Also, if another condition, if you're poisoned, because this will help show the function of the step count, go down to flag 261, poisoned, and if it is on, something is going to occur. So we're going to go into party, no, members, attributes, HP, virk, and subtract 1. So once in every 58 steps, 1/4 chance, 1 HP. Well, that's a lot. So let's change this data to 98. Actually make it 92. Update, and if equal to or less than 12, about 10%, a little over, 1/8, something like that. Virk will get 1 less HP, but to affect his HP, you have to do a couple things. So the first thing I'm going to do is go data, flags, and stat check type. And this will include HP and equipment, and a few other factors when on. When off, it doesn't include certain factors. So basically, you want it to be on. It's just simple. Now I want to load his data and go to data, variable, member number. It's actually up. It's 86, I think. Yeah. So variable, no, I use it a lot, so I know. Member number 0, because that's virk. We'll go to data. You have to load the info, and then we will save the info. So go to data, member info is save, and this should work. If it doesn't work, if I have to go back and edit this, there's an easy way to kind of make it definite, make it permanent. It always happens. You go to system and go to substitute attribute for variable, and then we go back into system, data, system, substitute variable for attribute. We delete this member info because it's a little hard to program sometimes. And then if we actually added the actual variable here, HP, which is 97 hit points, equal to itself. That way you just don't go down to 1 hit point. Ouch! So we'll go to hit points is equal to hit points minus 1. And doing it this way, you'll need to load that member, each specific individual member, to subtract it, affected by the status. Unless you want to do target data, and that's different. But I want to keep it this way just for explanation's case. This is the easiest way to do it. You make sure that stat check type is on, your member number is correct, you load that member's info, then you substitute the attribute for a variable, so this number, hit points, becomes an attribute, and then save the data. So that'll subtract it. So poison is on, and we hit this golden number 12 or less, it'll take away a hit point. When we wanted to do something else, we'll go to screen display, text, message. You are hurt by poison. So if the poison flag is on, you'll be hurt by the poison. We have to find a way to get rid of the poison status. So once the step count is 0, we can create another screen display here in another little part of the script. If I can't write that, I'm thinking that. So we're gonna write, you feel healthy. So this will eliminate your poison status. So if you have reached the 59 steps, you'll be cured of the poison status, and how we can change that is go into data, flags, and change our poisoned to off. This will cure us. Well, we can go back up here to that once we take this step. Under the end of this condition end, another condition if flag poisoned is off, then copy this bit of code here where we alter the hit point value for the member and paste it and write here, just alter this input to plus so that when you walk, if you're not poisoned, you'll get a hit point within this golden number of 12 out of 92. So there's that. And then if the step count is greater than 59. So this should work. So I'll update that. I'll try. So if you go into your general settings here, this lets you alter game state for the general settings. I can alter the variables and flags here and have them start the game as on or unchecked off, or I can change the variables to equal any number plus or minus or 0. And what I want to alter is our flag. I'll go into input in other scripts. I've covered it in some things, but it's a little different. It's a little more difficult. I'll go to our flag here and go to poisoned. And so we can see it working. We'll go to poisoned on, so you start the game as poisoned. And how we work this script into being is you have to turn it into an event. We'll create that. We'll call this step count. Can't do that if it's numbers. So we'll call this step count. I like to use capitals. It's easier to read. So step count, and then this has to be a system event, which basically means it's data applied to functions in the game, which is going to be applied to an indirect effect, which is going to be our step conditions. So we want to use our script here. So now we've created system data that we can apply to give us a condition. And indirect effects are like status or another term condition. And we want to create a new one. And we want this to be a certain kind of condition. I'll go into that when we enter the editor. And we're going to call this step count. Just make it repetitive, easy to remember. And then go into custom, and we're going to change the length, and this changes I usually only use the world because I don't deal with event battle in my programming. I'm unfamiliar with it. Most of the system depends on it, so it's difficult using only world, but I know how. If we change the step condition, this basically in the state it's in right now, every 100 steps, there's a 1% chance it could end. And if I change this value, 3% chance every 100 steps end, or 3% chance no steps end, or 1. So if I change this to 0 and 0, this effect now becomes infinite, and it always applies. What I want to do is go to the Advanced tab of our indirect effect here, and change the Modify tab and the status type of condition to condition 9. And you can repetitively use this condition. It won't overwrite anything for the most part. And there's a reason I want that type. We could make this a custom status and still have it apply to the character, but you'll be restricted to one script, or having to call many scripts from one script instead of having multiple conditions and applying each one individually. It's just simpler that way. If we go into our flow, we can go to every new success. So every time it succeeds, or when it happens, it's going to create a count for the first time. So the very first time it executes in the world, it will execute. That's basically like saying this happens when this happens. If nothing is there, nothing will occur no matter what you put here, because the new success, it doesn't have something to grab. New success is basically start. Each result makes this repeat, so every step it will call the script. So we have our step count. Now the last thing we need to do is go to party and change Verk's Advanced tab and condition. These are for the condition status only. And we can apply a condition to the character, and this will permanently be on the character unless otherwise deactivated or changed by code. And this will apply our step count to the character and make it work as a step count. So there's that. Now the very last thing I want to do is change our party to including no one but Verk, because just for the purpose of the video, this will let us see what's happening. So we'll go to test play and start. And now we will see I'm hurt by poison. Now Verk originally has 33 HP. That successfully took away. So we'll see how many times he is hurt. So he's hurt by poison, and he has lost 1 HP. So that's how you functionally decrease HP with the poison status. And we can see the steps are hurting us. But after so many steps, see, it's not that low. It's going to cure. So, now, let's see, we're at 27 hit points. Let's walk. We're at 29. And this will never exceed the max hit points unless you alter that data. So I want him to get 33 here so I can show you that. So he's at 33. And if I walk more, it'll tell me I feel healthy. So we'll do that. And that's how that works for the step condition. Actually, I want to change more, just one thing to show you. I thought of this. If you go back into our scripts, we can go to, if the step count is 59, we'll go to script branch condition, flag, poisoned is on. So if you are poisoned, we can copy these two things, delete it, and now this prompt that you feel healthy and the fact that it's curing you from poison will only occur when you're poisoned. Gotta think. Well, you guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. This was a tutorial by Big33. Keep watching, like and subscribe, and have fun, guys.